Hello, and welcome to the November edition of the Landlord Law Firm's Landlord Advocate. I'm Robert Chesson. In this month's edition of the Landlord Advocate, we're only going to cover one topic, and that is the topic of Airbnb. While I know we've discussed that in the recent past, with more and more questions coming from clients and more activity in the legal community around the world associated with Airbnb type programs and or companies, I figured we'd touch on it again today. It appears as though the federal court in the state of New York is going to be the latest battleground added to the fight between Airbnb and regulators around the world on exactly if and how this program can be allowed to prosper. The state of New York recently passed regulations around Airbnb and its use for illegally marketing apartments. And that regulation was immediately challenged by Airbnb in federal court with a lawsuit claiming that the state's law was illegal. While this is clearly the beginning of the fight in New York, it is worth noting that the fight for Airbnb is being fought on multiple fronts across the country as well as in countries and cities in Europe. It is currently unknown whether or not this issue will rear its head in Hartford in the upcoming legislative session, but it should be noted that in addition to the various challenges from cities and states, the affordable housing community has offered its support on behalf of those states to regulate and limit the impact of Airbnb on apartment communities. These affordable housing advocates posit that taking apartments offline for short-term rentals adversely impacts their ability to develop and promote affordable housing programs. While we continue to monitor this situation both in Connecticut and abroad, we recommend you continue to enforce and abide by your lease and the provisions associated with unauthorized occupants, subletting, or lease assignments. And lastly, as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to your landlord attorney and get good legal advice on this issue. Thank you for joining us for this November edition of the Landlord Law Firm's Landlord Advocate Video News. I'm Robert Chesson. See you next month.